we're back in the darkroom. Today we are going to an observation session of the printing process. Last time most of you must have seen the processing, how a negative is made. Today you're going to see how the negative is going to be projected onto paper and then made into a positive, which is the print. We're going to do three quick steps today. The first is the customary mixing of chemicals and how the trays for the printing is set up. The second quite often missed process which old printers do in a very disciplined way, which is making the contact print. Why we're doing that you will know once we see it. The third, of course, will be the main printing, where you'll get to see how one complete print is made and what is the process involved in that. So this is just an introduction to that. As we go on, you will see the rest of the processes. So join us for this session. So I'm going to be mixing the chemicals now. I have already the fixer and the stop bath from the last time, which is ready to go for my papers as well. But the developer is specific to paper development. This, what I'm using, is a general purpose multigrade. What is multigrade? I will talk about it when we print. But this is a multigrade developer which is optimized for multigrade paper. This I'm going to mix a ratio of 1:10, 1:9. So I'm going to mix about a liter of chemicals to fit into this tray. It's important that there's just enough chemical to cover the surface of the paper so that there's no blotchy developing. Like we discussed even for the film developing, that the chemical has to flow smoothly over the surface, the emulsion surface. Similarly here. So I'll just wear my gloves and get to work. So I'm going to wash this first. So just like everything is about sanitization nowadays, similarly darkroom, you have to make sure that everything is double, triple washed so that there is no contamination. So I'm going to make sure that, although this has been well washed and stored earlier, I'm going to give it another wash before I start mixing my chemicals. I'll smell it to see whether there's any residue of any of the chemicals. So yeah, so 100 ml. So my developer is right now ready. I'm not yet going to pour it into the tray because I'm going to avoid if there's any spill when I'm pouring my stop bath, make sure there's no contamination. So these trays have also been washed and kept ready. I'm going to stop bath. For the stop bath, just making sure that I have enough of the stop bath. We have the fixer here. In case you're wondering why these are weird looking containers, basically these are right, like see the accordion that Uh, so it basically pushes out the air. So it's important that these chemicals are stored with as less oxidization as possible. So we just push out the air depending on how much chemical there is, and then we tighten the cap. Now I'm going to have my fixer poured here. Okay, so I have my developer, stop bath and fixer ready. So what I'm going to do now is I need one more bath, which is the water bath. So once the fixing is over, which is for about a minute and a half or 3 minutes, I have to go put the print into water wash. So I will leave the print here for some time so that the residual fixer washes off, and after that I will hang it up to dry. So I've got all my chemicals ready now. I'm going to pour the developer into the tray as we're ready. Okay, so we're set in terms of chemicals. Okay, so the contact print is ready. I have chosen my print, which is 23A as per the numbers that you get under the film registered here. And I'm going to now load it into the enlarger, for which I need this, which is called the negative carrier. So I have to make sure that 23A sits correctly into this. Okay, now I will slightly adjust it so that it's correctly into the gate. Then I will slip it into the enlarger. It sits in place and close it. So now I have loaded the negative carrier, and next is to set up my space for the print. So what I'm going to be doing is keep the other negatives away first, and I need an easel which will hold the paper flat so that I can print on it. So I'll take my easel here. This is the easel. So the paper sits here, and this will hold the four sides down. This is called a 4-blade easel because it's got 4 blades. This is a little more fancy, but you also get a 2-blade easel, which is I'll show you that one, which is cheaper. Works too. So just these 2 blades more, we can make it smaller that way and make it bigger this way. So now what I have to check is I need to put a plain white paper here, and I will check for focusing, which all that will have to be done in red light. So I'm going to turn off the lights. Right. Now I'm going to turn on the enlarger first to just check. So this is, as you can see, the image is being projected. I adjust my easel, right? So I more or less set the enlarger's height. If you need to crop the image with the same size, keeping the same size, but you want to zoom in the image, essentially cropping it, I just have to move this entire enlarger head up, and the image will become bigger, and then I'll have to refocus. So as you see, there is a focusing dial here. You can see the image here. I will make it out of focus now. See the image? It's out of focus. I have to bring it to a point where it is in focus, and now there is a little tool that helps me to make sure that I'm absolutely right with my focusing. Okay, so the image is ready for printing. What I did earlier is I did a small bits of paper to get the right exposure and the right contrast, because if I have to show all that, it's going to take a long time. So I've established what kind of exposure I need to get a fairly good print. Now I'm going to show you the process of actually exposing and developing the print. Still continue to use gloves, the lint-free cotton gloves, because I don't want to leave fingerprints on the paper. So this is the paper. Now the important thing, put the rest of your papers back safely so that it's not fogged. Okay. Now since it's a glossy paper, I think it's quite easy to make out which is the emulsion side. Glossy part, you see the reflection of the safe light, that's the emulsion part. I'm going to load it into my easel, 4-plate easel. Okay, so the paper is loaded now, and I'm going to expose. Ready for exposure, check. All the parameters are okay, and start exposure. 15-second exposure. Exposure is done. I'm going to remove my lintless gloves, because it shouldn't get contaminated by chemicals. So I'm going to leave that on the side. Carefully remove the paper touching just the edges, and ready to put it into the chemical. Turn on the timer. Image has begun to develop. See it appearing. And I will continue to agitate the tray, rock the tray so that the even spread on the emulsion. Okay, so 2 minutes have elapsed, and I'm going to be carefully removing this. Let the developer flow out, drop down into the tray. And into the stop path. About 30 to 40 seconds should do. it's going to be in the fixer for about a minute. And then I'm ready to turn on the lights. So just be a little patient. I'll go in the meanwhile check that all my paper is all in place. Yep, paper's in, nothing to get fogged, and as my timer runs, I will have a look. Okay, I'm going to turn on the lights now. And that is the print that you see in the fixer. This is water bath, so I can't put my hands safely into it. So there we have it. So this was one of my test prints. This is another one which was darker. So this is again a matter of taste now. You can decide how you want your prints optimized. Some people like them darker, some people lighter, some people in the middle. This is what makes printing fun, because you can do your own thing. Once the washing is done, keep it in for at least 4 to 5 minutes. Make sure the excess fixer is all washed off. The resin coated, the RC papers require less washing. The fiber based papers require a little more washing and need to be handled more carefully. So for beginners, people starting off, RC paper is good. And I'm ready to hang the print, the edge as I can. Too much of the edge and it's going to fall, the print is going to fall. So there you have it. The print ready. So what you saw now was the basic printing method. There's nothing advanced that I have shown you here, just to give you an overall view of what happens in a darkroom when you do printing. So developing is still a different way of doing things, in the sense you have kits available, home kits, where you don't need a darkroom. You can do your developing completely at home. Srishti and Patterson and Harman are providing the services, giving you really compact kits for developing. But when it comes to printing, you will require a larger setup. You will require a darkroom. You will require enlargers. You will require trays and tongs and different other things. But again, Ilford, Harman, and Patterson and Srishti, these are all the partners associated with providing this really unique opportunity to understand black and white processing and printing. It is really a fantastic opportunity, because for me, at one point I was wondering when can I ever get back to real photography, which was for me printing and processing myself. But thanks to all these companies, they have brought it back. So this darkroom is a Harman certified darkroom, and other than conducting workshops, we also do professional processing and printing. For those who just want to take pictures and don't have the wherewithal to actually do their own processing and printing, we are available to provide that service. And for those who have gone through the workshops and who have come to a certain competent level, this darkroom can be made available as a service, and they can hire the darkroom and do their own art work using these facilities. So once again, I thank Harman and Srishti for having arranged for all this and for having been able to connect to all of you. Take care and stay safe. See you later. Bye.